So we've been playing Daggerheart, and it's set in a desert region, and I wanted an attack sequence with these creatures, these serpent-like insectoid worm creatures that transform the landscape they inhabit, creating these strange stone circles. So I took some of this polystyrene, broke it down into these jagged rock shapes, and then coated them with Mod Podge and tissue paper, basically, kitchen roll in this case, but also some of that kind of like standard blue roll that you get, which is actually a little thinner when I ran out of the kitchen roll that I had. So the technique's just pretty straightforward. Just coat the polystyrene in the Mod Podge and then stick the thing on. And the nice thing about this is obviously you just basically paste it on. You're not worrying about it being straight, and in fact where it folds, that just adds more sort of like textures and lines and striations in the rock. Some of the kitchen roll that you can get actually is textured, I guess. You want to avoid the ones that have got like patterns on and, you know, that are recognisable, but anything that's just got the little bumps in it is quite useful. The blue paper doesn't have as much of that, but again, just getting it to fold on itself creates this kind of striated rock texture. It's not the best technique in the world, I guess, but it's certainly the quickest, and because I had a game sort of 2.5 days after I first started pulling all this stock together, this was the way that I went. I think you can see there where you've got these lines appearing where the folds are happening in the paper. You definitely can see it a little bit when the primer goes on. I mean, mostly this is going on to seal the polystyrene so that when I hit it with a spray can, it doesn't just melt. I used the technique here on, I think for my Turnip 28, one of my Turnip 28 bases, and here you can see one of the finished rocks. There it is, hit with some primer and stuck to a base. It's not bad for, you know, and I managed to turn a lot of these out in a morning. I added some extra detail obviously on some of them, just to making that a bit more interesting. Here you can see sort of like dead warriors, just to add a bit of foreboding to the scene. And I thought with them being nondescript, I could get other use out of them as well. Here I used a clear head that I'd used in a tutorial teaching students before, so I just took that head that was and then kind of broke off any of the longer parts of it. Again, coated that for the most part in the same way with the kitchen roll. Added a cherry stalk tree. This is a Triceratops skull from one of those fossil digging games. I wanted to create these craters to show where the worm creature had passed, and here I just put in an old base that could be lifted out, and underneath it's got this metal fitting, and you'll see why. Because here's the creature that I made, and he's got magnets on the bottom, and the creature was made primarily from the tail of this old rubber plastic dinosaur. The teeth are made from toothpicks, and old hammer of war spider parts. I'm sure they've probably got a technical name, but I really don't know much about Warhammer. Here you can see that the magnets hold it in place. You can turn it around. I made a smaller base as well here, so this could be more of a mobile thing, so that I could move it around the board and have the worm bursting from the ground and appearing elsewhere. See, the magnets are holding it up, just stood in the base as I'm turning it there. This is one of the characters, the player characters, and I wanted them they'd chosen a character that basically could bamf out these wings, and I wanted to be able to add the wings at certain points in the game, so I basically made these. I stuck them together, cut off a small like griffin character. The wings were much better than the rest of the griffin character, so used them there. Made a flying rig, and obviously you can see here that the worm creature doesn't have the height to reach it, so I thought that was a little unfair. So I made this extra bit of base that looks like earth being pushed up at speed, perhaps, so that the worm could, at certain points, maybe make one move per combat to try and snatch the flying creature out of the air. I also made these juvenile versions of these sand striker creatures. They're made from the arms of, well, basically one of these creatures here. I got a job lot of these for very little money from a car boot sale, and so I've been using those. I made a couple of these little acid splashes for when those juveniles explode. They can be placed anywhere, obviously, and obviously that helps. So one of the other things is that the player characters are riding these Axebeak into the desert, and so I wanted to make a few of those just to fit on the board. I thought it was a bit of fun. It helps describe what the characters are, the creatures are, when I'm talking about them to the players. I made 3 of these using dinosaur raptor type creatures, sculpting in green stuff and adding some of the wing parts from some of the other toys that I'd found in that thing. I added magnets to this one in particular because I wanted to have a removable rider. So you can see there's a magnet on the back of that one. Can be put on. It won't fall off, but it comes off just easily enough. There's a single magnet there holding that one on. To hold the other creature up, I used a couple of magnets on top of each other in like 4, because it needed much more power to hold itself to the metal base, but that works quite nicely. I was really pleased with the Axebeaks, to be fair. I'm not going to get around to painting this time round for the game, ready for the game, but I do have enough there to play. I made a board out of an old Monopoly board that I'd picked up for just this purpose, really. Drew a grid on it, give a light spray dusting with the same grey primer. I'll probably add to that at some point, but for now I've got a gridded board with some terrain. I've got the characters and some creatures there, and I've got the big bad creatures and a flying rig for a flying character. We're all ready to, as you can see, hit the Daggerheart table. So I guess this is the call to action bit. Like and subscribe, and if you know anyone that might like this sort of channel, show them the channel. Cheers. See you at the next one.